So, someone asked me to review what's been going on. So, you went to heaven where you found out that you weren't allowed there. Um, God is, everyone thinks God is dead, which doesn't necessarily mean he is, but that's what everybody thinks.
He's dead but alive.
Yeah, nobody
I
can
don't
find
think
him.
I don't think that that's the case.
But you're the exception that proves the rule that everyone thinks he
That is
is.
true. Yeah.
Um, so you were in your chancel a lot last session. You found there's a clone of Robert who is created and anchored by an Excrucian who seems to want to kill your Imperator. But that's okay, it's what most Excrucians want anyway, so not too big of a surprise. Um, there's also a witch who is in the middle of fighting a war with your neighboring chancel, but I think Zentropy made everybody forget that your chancel existed, so that kind of stopped the war. And also, just nobody knows about anything that's going into chancel or if the chancel even exists anymore. I think probably even the angels forgot that you guys went to heaven. Hmm. Anyway, so then you basically left Robert's clone in like this jail, the center of your chancel, and went to go and talk to Tartney up Napishtim, who had been
Mm-hmm.
captured by this witch called Zena Sanguine, and after giving Tartney up Napishtim back his his little passport, basically his contract that allows him free passage, the witch released him, and now he thinks that he's going to be allowed to bring his full excrucian self into creation. But of course, you found a loophole, meaning that he's going to be stuck inside your chancel once that happens.
Which may or may not end well for me.
Right.
Yep.
Of course, if your chancel is destroyed, then he's totally fine with that, right? So, um, yeah, that's about where we left off. Um, I'm going to start play with your characters not insane.
hmm
One of the rules of Nobilis is that even if there's nothing the GM can say that the players can't react to. So even though your characters aren't aware of events, that doesn't mean you can't react to it. And it's a little bit unclear what that means. But
hmm
like one hint might be is that if something like one of the things is that your bonds and afflictions are like burning wheel instincts, right? Like these are things your character automatically does without your character having to say anything. So maybe as I'm describing what happens, if you think that you have an anchor or that would notice events and act on your behalf, or if you think that something I describe goes against one of your instincts or one of your bonds and afflictions, then you can act through that. And let's see if you guys can stop me from this causal chain of bad things that's about to happen.
All right.
Oh
All
man.
right.
So,
Um, Before we jump into the actual narrative, I believe that we had some character and I had some like destiny I could spend to improve my character, 10 destiny,
that's right.
and I think it would be good to go over that.
Let's do it.
Sweet.
The other thing is that you completed a project last time. How badly will I get addicted to causing pain?
Yes.
And you get to speak an imperial miracle telling us the consequence of your project.
Yes. So I have done a bit of thinking about this, not as much as I would have liked.
Mm-hmm.
And the Imperial Miracle is just sort of it has to be related to my project, but other than that, it can be I just state something and it is now true, and unless
Yeah.
with another Imperial Miracle, it can't be undone if I remember.
It basically nobody can resist this from happening. It just happens. I wouldn't say it couldn't be undone.
But it can't be stopped it can be undone later maybe, but it can't be stopped here and now.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's something that becomes true as a consequence of what you've already done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. As a consequence of what I have already done.
Yeah.
In the last game, we talked about how if Trek, I should say, tried to stop the Imperial Miracle, that he would take a pretty serious wound for that.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
But you don't even have that choice. Like, you cannot stop a project from completing.
Yeah. Right.
Like, nobody can even choose to take a wound to prevent this from happening. It literally just happens.
Yeah. Okay. I think my Imperial Miracle is relatively simple, especially with something like this that is very much about the internal character. This miracle is about Robert. I think his sort of addiction to sadism, miracle is simply it is one that cannot ever be. It can't ever go away. Like it's permanent. Even if he should somehow get rid of the actual and no longer be a nobilis to it, his character, his addiction to it is effectively permanently that way unless someone tries to change it. But for now, it's permanently that way.
All right, that's pretty dark.
Yeah.
Do you want to change your bonds and afflictions to give yourself an affliction about being addicted to causing pain?
I think I'll change my bond blood frenzy because that hasn't come up at all, and I think that is related to an addiction to sadism, and I'll make it
Sure.
more. I'll make it fit that.
Yeah, perfect. All right. So, in case you guys are wondering what caused that, Robert realized he felt satisfied. Like, after he's a sadistic for a while, he doesn't need to cause more sadism, more pain. He can become satisfied. He murdered an innocent woman just to see what would happen, and then what did I give you 10 points for?
It was just at the end for something
Yeah.
last session, something big.
Oh, you realized you liked it. You liked what you were.
Yes, I was temporarily like the supernatural addiction was cured, but he was still addicted mundanely.
Right.
I think that's what this reflects. Yeah.
When you're in the presence of the witch, part of her afflictions is that everybody near her, they are freed from the rules of the chancel, which were probably what were causing you to be addicted. But you realize that even without that force, you still liked it, and
Yeah, I chose a dark theme.
now it's a part of you.
Yeah, that is the thing. So the project's finished, and now what do I do? Do I make a new one now, or do I leave it blank and I can add it in later?
I mean, there's no limit to projects, so we'll just take it.
Delete it, and then
We could
make
even
one
delete
when I
it
feel
if
like
you
it.
want.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And then you get to.
Oh, right. I can't lead things as. No, we are GMs, so I can't lead it.
You should be able to.
I can. I think just while I'm holding control, which is my push to talk button, it won't let me. But
Yeah, it's
otherwise, I can.
possible.
And now I have 10 destiny that I can spend to improve my character's stats. You said, right?
Right. So you can use that to increase your 4 main stats. You can choose that to get a gift.
Okay, what's a gift?
A gift is like if you want wings to fly.
Okay.
Matt's character has like a purification gift that lets him destroy disease.
I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say if you're getting a gift, it should probably be a whip. I'm just saying.
Tempting, but that's like sexual sadism is not what he is about. It's
no, but a whip is meant to just cause pain. It's not really meant to kill anyone.
Oh, that's true.
You know.
Ooh, monstrous gifts. Page 240. Are those gifts that players can get still?
Not intended, but if there's something you really want.
Oh, I see. Okay. Unless I don't like any of them in the base ones, then I won't bother.
Sure.
Yeah. So can I do this in the middle of play while we're going, so we don't slow things down?
Yep, but I need to improve it. So, but that's fine.
Okay, I'll run it by you. Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so let's start this this out of character thing. So let me just find this part really here. So as long as you have an avatar, you can always use the action system to do something. You won't necessarily know what to do, and you won't necessarily succeed. And if there's an obvious reason your avatar can't act, you have to deal with that reason before you can do anything else. But the only effect which stops the player from acting is something that kills their avatar or otherwise makes them into an NPC. For instance, if your avatar is possessed by a ghost, you can still use actions to try to cast the ghost out. If your avatar is asleep when something terrible happens, you can use an action to try and wake them up. If someone turns you into a pig, you can use an action to try and undo the piggening. So, you as a player are always able to act, even if it doesn't seem like the character should be able to act. There's still things that will act on your behalf, and you can always take action to fix whatever the GM's put in your way.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, what's in your way is simply you're not there, and you're being distracted because you're trying to deal with Tartnay up Nepishnum in the jail cell right now, and there's like a lot of other plans and things you guys have on your mind. All right.
Cool. All right, lay it on us.
So we're going to start with Robert. Robert's clone is
yeah.
in the jail cell you made for him. And after you leave, he wakes up just by himself because he wasn't magically put to sleep or anything. He just fainted because there was a lot of stress on him at the moment. Let me open my Word document, actually. Oops, that's not even the right place. So he wakes up and he looks around. He's in this stone cell with like a barred jail gate. And his creator, Asil al-Salam, the Warmane of death and who he used to be, takes action and uses a miracle on him. And when he goes to try, as a result, when he goes to try the door, it just swings open at his touch, like it had never been locked. So he wanders around the center of the chancel and looks around. He sees there are prisoners that your Imperator have collected. Beautiful specimens of humanity. They're like very primeval, like wearing animal loincloths. They're wielding spears and trying to like start a fire. They're hunting small game like rabbits and small dinosaurs that are also like extremely beautiful. And Robert looks at these and he's like, "Wow, it's so weird. What else is in this place? How can I get home?" And he continues wandering until he comes to the center of the chancel where your Imperator lies, and he walks down into the cave. And we can hear Asilo talking to him. Just find her. Don't hurt her. We just need to find her, and she will be able to set you free. And as soon as Robert walks down to the cave and sees your Imperator, she does another miracle. And she is going to create who your Imperator used to be the same way she did to Robert.
Can I? I think that at this point, like Phineas would, like in the previous session, I think Phineas is spending time tending to his Imperator.
No, you all went to the witch, right? You were all in that scene.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's where you are right now. This is during that journey. What you all walked
simultaneously.
Yeah, you all walked there, so there was sufficient time, I think, for these events to occur.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to try to interfere if I can.
Okay, first tell me how you know this is happening.
How I know it's happening. Okay. I think Trek would be keeping an eye on anything that would be moving through the chancel that's not supposed to be there, like not the denizens, not the people that are supposed to be there, but like any outside people, if that makes sense.
Would you? I guess you could say you're keeping an eye on Robert. Do you have a bond or affliction to back this up?
There's a couple that it might be. I mean,
You just have to tell me, like, what action do you take to become aware of this?
While he's dealing with the witch? I want to say that he uses part of his consciousness to be aware of things moving around, like because he's not in any one particular physical place. He has no physical body and cannot be contained.
Sure. So this is a non-miraculous action?
Yeah, it's something that he's used to doing from before he was even a Nobilis.
Okay.
Like he just keeps an eye on people that are moving around.
So I don't think that works in this case because the miracle SLL used to cause Robert to be her vessel to find the Imperator is a miraculous action, and it's a fairly powerful one. So a non-miraculous action isn't going to find him in time.
All right.
Like, the reason why the gates just opened, like, I'm sure Robert locked them, but the miracle overrides non-miraculous parts of the world.
All right, I'm not understanding how any character would have the impetus to act at this point. Like,
right?
There's virtually no way we would know this is going on.
Well, so Trek. I mean, one way you could play it is as a miraculous action. You can have divinations related to the estate of travel.
Okay.
So you could simply know about paths in the chancel, for example. Golden, you stop me if I'm off base here. But I think I'm just going through your miracle chart. Track, domain chart. Here we are. Lesser divinations of wanderlust. Know what the best way to travel. Know the closest hiding place. Find the best kept secret of the town. Maybe you could just like know a path that is being wandered.
Yeah, I mean, because that's a miracle you could do. You could just say, it's just something I keep track of. Like you have a bond, right? 8 travelers who have stopped in their journey. Mm-hmm. And maybe because of that bond, because Robert's clone was stuck in his prison, you can use your miracle to find him. To like be keeping an eye on him. And then when he no longer is constrained, you realize something's up.
Okay, yeah, I'll go with that.
Okay, so you need to make a lesser divination. I guess that'd be a lesser divination, and you add your strikes from your bond. So I don't think the Excrucian is taking action to prevent divination. So you will find Robert, wandering around. I think in response to that, then before Robert finds the Imperator, Asilla is going to detect you through your divination. And she's going to create a miracle on Wanderlust and create who Wanderlust used to be.
Trying to think if I have any response to that, any resistance to that. No, I think that'd be really strange to have to deal with, but I'm good with that, I guess.
Okay. So I think Wanderlust feels this before anybody, but there's a new way to travel in the world. A way that stopped existing when Wanderlust became a power. And I think we don't never pin down what that was. Did you ever get any ideas of what it might be?
What might be? I'm sorry.
Remember Wanderlust used to embody a form of travel, and then when they became a power, that form of travel stopped existing. It exists now. Asilo just recreated that concept, that ability to travel. I'm asking if you ever had any ideas of what it might be.
Only vaguely. But when we were coming up with it, it wasn't such an issue because it ceased to be so.
Right, but now it exists again. Matter. So, give me your vague impressions, and I'm going to make a decision based on that.
It was some kind of travel that was not. It was an ambling thing. It was not a destination oriented thing. Okay. Maybe it was more like a ritual, like a pilgrimage, than it was a mode of travel.
Okay.
It was a reason for travel.
Okay. Reason for travel. Okay. All right. So we're not going to define the reason for travel necessarily, because I don't think anybody is going to be able to tell why someone's traveling unless we ask them. So we don't need to define it just yet. But it exists in the world again. And so we see this previous truck not existing physically, but being very curious and looking at everything. Like its attention is zooming in and out all over the chancel. And we feel Asilo now telling previous Trek, the copy of Trek, who Trek used to be, find the Imperator. And so now both previous Wanderlust and Robert are about to find your Imperator.
Okay.
And that would be bad.
And we're aware of this. So I would like to...
Well, you're aware of it.
Yeah, I would like to use another miracle. I have a bond about making people forget their obligations. Do I think that...
You could do that, but it would only target one of them.
Okay. I think I'll do it to my clone then. And
okay.
Leave it to someone else.
So you free your clone. I don't think. What level of miracle is that?
Is that a destruction? You think?
You said it was on your chart.
It's a bond that I have that.
Oh.
That.
Okay.
So it's something I'm used to doing. I'm just not sure how that translates into which miracle it is.
Sure. Let me just take a look really quick here. Have a lot of persona, domain. Yeah, sure. Lesser destruction. Okay. So your bond is... What was your bond again?
It's make people forget their obligations.
So, alright, that cost you 1 miracle point.
Okay.
Alright, and then your clone stops looking for anything in particular and just is just wandering around the chancel, looking at all the strange things in it. But simultaneously, because this action was already ongoing, Robert does stumble upon your Imperator, and then Asilo does create a clone of who your Imperator used to be.
So can I interrupt that? Because what I'd like to do is there are dinosaurs everywhere in the estate, and so before the clone of Robert gets there, I'd like a dinosaur to notice them and communicate that to me.
Okay.
I think that's a fairly significant divination because it doesn't relate to dinosaurs directly. So I'm just looking up what level miracle.
Sure. You could also just say that you have a dinosaur anchor, I guess. But remember, there's also this time thing, right? There's only a limited number of actions you have to take. So, okay. So we can say
I can only
that
take 2 at a time?
you can only take 1 action at a time.
Right.
And you only have time for 2 actions.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't.
So you really only have time for 1 action. So, right.
Before it discovers.
Yeah.
Them.
But we're going to allow you an additional 1 as a flurry, and then
Right.
I'll allow a solo to react somehow. Let's see here.
So, I mean, what I would like to have happen is that a large Tyrannosaurus Rex steps out in front
Okay.
of Robert, blocking their path, and at the same time notifies, like, through my miraculous knowledge of things that dinosaurs perceive.
Okay.
I'd like to be alerted to it. I think that is is that a greater divination?
Sounds like a lesser motion because you're changing this T-Rex into a watchdog of sorts.
That's
right?
True. Yeah, that seems fair. Like, if I just wanted to know, then it would be a divination. But I want to
And I also make a note
also have it blocked.
So you have to overcome whatever miracle is allowing Robert to find your Imperator, or it won't stop them.
Right.
So just lesser motion.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, let's burn it. Does my Imperator count as the poor or downtrodden in this situation? Probably not, hey?
No.
I mean, they're threatened, but they're certainly not. I mean, they're kind of downtrodden, but they're not poor.
Nah, not in this case.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, I will burn the I'll burn the points. So that's I need to get up to a 6. Is that right?
Right.
Lesser motion. I've got 1. Oh, this is gonna suck. I can't do this without taking a wound.
Why not?
Because I've only got 1 domain. Oh, I got a 3 MP discount. Right. Okay. So yeah. So I have a question about that about how that works. Right. You can spend MP in amounts of 1, 2, or 8.
Right. 1, 2, 4, or 8.
Right. So the 3 MP discount. If I'm trying to get to 6, that just drops it down to 3.
Right.
Okay. Cool. It's not a discount off the 8 I would have to spend.
Right.
Okay, cool. So if the target is 3, then yeah, I spend the 2. And so this ginormous T-Rex steps out in front, blocks the path. I'm gonna spend. No, I mean, we haven't established they have any arthritis yet. 1. Oops. Whoa. Okay. Okay, cool. I've spent the 2.
Okay.
And this T-Rex, whose name is, I think I'm going to name all the dinosaurs after the apostles. So this one is Matthew.
All right. So Matthew the T-Rex goes, rawr, and it's the most beautiful T-Rex you've ever seen, right? Because I already established that your Imperator's been gathering beautiful dinosaurs. This is definitely the largest.
It's got like a big crown of feathers and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
It's got the king. This is the king T-Rex. And it stands in front of, jumps in front of Robert and goes rawr. But so there wasn't any arthritis blocking your miracle, but they did use strike. So they're able to overcome the T-Rex. So I think Robert dives behind a pile of rocks and slides down this slippery staircase that he wasn't expecting, and that's how
Yeah.
he finds the Imperator now.
I can't do. I guess
You're
I
now
can do.
definitely aware of where this is.
Right. And I can do miracles at range now, right?
You could, but he's not in range because you don't have line of sight.
Isn't there like a there's some kind of default range though on do I have that wrong?
Yeah, the default range is line of sight.
I thought it was like 10 kilometers or something.
Let's take a look.
Oh, can I also do as part of my level 6 domain miracle? You can also do like you can include lesser miracles within that. So I'd also like to do a lesser preservation
On the dinosaur?
I think on the dinosaur at the same time. So
Sure.
not only is it like just a motherfucking boss T-Rex, it's also miraculously preserved.
Sure.
Okay, I don't want to hold us up too much. So I'm fine with that. If I can find the rule, I'll.
It's on page 208.
Yeah.
So the way I read this is that the 10 miles is like you see a space station, like you can see it, but it's 10 miles. It's more than 10 miles away, so you can't affect it. Also, like, but you still have to be able to sense it, right? Like even if it's within 10 miles and you know it's there, like you have to be able to have a link to it in some way. And you just don't have that link.
Right. I mean, but having been able to see through the eyes of the dinosaur, I have a known location, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it says if you're within 10 miles, that's probably close enough. You probably don't have to get any closer than that to target a known location, even when miraculous beings are involved.
Yeah. Do you want to change the location in some way? But keep in mind, he's in the room. Like, you took an action to detect him, and it didn't stop him from getting to the Imperator. So now he's definitely with the Imperator. You can take action on him while he's with the Imperator, and Asilo is simultaneously taking an action to create a copy of your Imperator. So you can act, but you can't interrupt it anymore.
So they've discovered the location of the Imperator. They haven't made the copy yet?
Right. They're in the process. That's what their current action is.
Right. Okay.
Have you guys told Robert about any of this? Real Robert, not clone Robert?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It would take an action to tell Robert, and then Asilo's action would go
too
through.
late. Yeah.
Right. Well, is it fair to
if everything that I wrote in chat is fine in terms of character advancement?
You only said you wanted one thing, right?
I wrote it all in chat.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah. 1 point on gifts, 1 point on 5 more passion skill points, 6 points on upping my domain and persona by 1 each, leaving me with 2 points left, which I was wondering if I could spend on strike.
You don't just get strike.
It says you can buy strike for a gift, is what it says.
Yes, but you pick one gift that gets strike.
Oh, I see. Not the strike itself isn't a gift. Okay.
Right.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Like you can buy a sword with strike, but
I might later, but not yet.
All right. So yeah, that's all fine. But that is like kind of a grab bag of stuff. So I'm probably going to say you don't have any points left over, because 10 was just a ballpark anyway, right? So I'll allow your grab bag of stuff, but I think this is all you get.
Okay.
All right.
So
cool.
I'll run back to.
Sure.
So Golden, I have a question then. My assumption is that, like, because we are off, right? Like, you can do actions inclusive of mundane actions and miracle actions, and we've established that being that at this time that all of this is going on, we're engaged in mundane conversation with Terte. And so I've been assuming, and this could be totally wrong, which is why I want to ask, that alerting Robert to the fact that we are under attack would replace that second action, which we cannot do because we're retroactively, all that stuff has already happened.
Not exactly. What's happening is, so like we're going to assume that this happens like in between that, right? Like probably at the point where you're doing a divination, you've just finished your conversation, or you're just about to have your conversation with Tarte, and then after that, you can take action. After Tarte's like, "Yep, I'm going to go explore some more." That's what I'm doing, and then the War Main is going to try and create a copy of your Imperator.
Okay. I mean, in that case, then
this is like a pacing thing, right? Like the pacing of Robert finding your Imperator is very long,
right?
And you're allowed to take actions on different pacings simultaneously, but like you can't now. But because this combat is in one pacing, to notify your teammate that is going on would be an action on the same pacing as the combat, which would be a very long time.
Yeah. In that case, I think I absolutely would tell real Robert, not clone Robert. So I think jumping back to the other timeline where we just watched Terte Utnapishtim step away. I think I would turn to Robert and say, what's her name? Estelal?
Yes, Estelal.
I think I say something like, Estelal is here, near Umaya. How quickly can you move? And then I think, so that's my piece. We talked about taking a break at around the time, but
there's Primarch.
What are people feeling?
Oh, my bad. Okay, yeah, let's take a break. I didn't notice that message for whatever reason. I didn't see Primarch.
It just came through like 10 seconds ago.
Okay, so let's go on break, and we'll continue in a bit.